Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. A surprise ruling from the Supreme Court will force Alabama's Republican lawmakers to redraw the state's congressional districts. Now, this in order to make them more racially proportional to the state's population. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh say the state legislature weakened black voting power across several majority white districts. Now, Alabama must put together a map that creates a second congressional district with a substantially black population in time for next year's elections. Our panelists are back to talk about that. And of course, we're not just talking about Alabama. We have far-reaching implications. State of Texas, Louisiana, and many more states will have to revisit this issue. State Representative Ron Reynolds, how fast should we respond to this in Texas? But first, your assessment of the ruling.
This was powerful. This was a shock. When I saw that, I said, this can't be real. That someone's playing a prank. The conservative Supreme Court with Trump appointees ruled 5-4 with Clarence Thomas black ass dissenting with a 50-page dissent, but I digress. This was powerful because this sent a message that the arguments that we've been making about African Americans being disenfranchised and their vote being diluted with gerrymandering to limit their ability to represent their districts. This was powerful. This is going to have a chilling effect, not just in Alabama, but you're right, Texas. Texas has been fouled by the lower courts having intentionally discriminated against black and brown people. Texas is going to be next. We have pending lawsuits right now that the Department of Justice brought against Texas. One of the reasons why we have fled to D.C. was because of the Jim Crow 2.0, and I do believe, Isaiah, that we're going to see Texas being impacted by this law. I believe there's going to be more African American and Hispanic seats that are going to be as a result of this Supreme Court ruling. This was powerful. We haven't seen anything like this in decades from the Supreme Court. And
at a time, just recently, we saw them trying to get rid of either Sheila Jackson Lee or Congressman Al Green's seat here in Texas.
Because Section 2 was gutted by the Shelby case, by a very conservative Supreme Court, and Congress did not reauthorize that. That's what we were arguing for when we fled to D.C. We were arguing for the Congress to reenact Section 2, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. The Congress passed it in the Senate because of Manchin and Sinema. They weren't able to do it. So this is powerful. This is something we've been praying for. The NAACP and members like myself, chairs of the Legislative Black Caucus, were doing cartwheels. This is unprecedented.
Attorney Eric Dick, your thoughts, your assessment on this ruling from the Supreme Court?
Well, it's not uncommon for, this to happen. It's happened before in Texas. It's happened before in other states,
And really quick, it happens with both parties.
Exactly, absolutely. For just me personally, being elected official, I'm not really a big fan of gerrymandering. I think it should be based more on the individual and, people representing people and trying to get as much crossover as you can, but our system's so hyper-partisan, so everything gets extremely gerrymandered, and this is just kind of a byproduct.
And for those who may not know what that is, that's like going all over to the map to create a district to ensure that one side or the other side wins.
And you had that happen in Harris County, and with Precinct 4 and Precinct 3 just being completely redrawn, so you'd have Democrat people winning instead of Republicans. It happens all the time. I've never been a big fan of gerrymandering. I'd rather there be another system of drawing maps. That's my personal preference. But this happens all the time. This isn't going to be the first or last time this happens.
All right. Dr. von Bietenfeld, will this undo past injustices, or will we get that far?
We're not getting that far, but this is a positive step in the direction of analyzing, I think, to both my colleagues' points, the realization that gerrymandering is a qualitative, and let's look at more quantitative things. We have a census every 10 years. Let's look at the idea of what the actual demographics are. And I know Al Green wants to stay together, right, with his constituents.
I like that.
But we know that they're also trying to divide whenever the party of majority decides to keep those seats safely. So this is a positive thing. I'm sure some of the people that voted on that confirmation for Kavanaugh are thinking, what beer did he have the night before? What frat party did he slip slip into, because he definitely surprised quite a few of us
Bring
with
up his
that.
past now.
Right, Justice Roberts, I expected that. This is a pretty clear-cut case from a legal standpoint, but we've seen the hyperpartisanship creep into the court with things, whether it's gift receipts or other aspects of the
Roe
court.
versus Wade.
Roe versus Wade. We've seen some of these concerns with the Dobbs opinion that we definitely worry that the court is going to move into the qualitative as opposed to quantitative.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Still ahead here on the